Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and this is not a review. This is a display I've made and kind of enjoyed looking at. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Victorinox. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I am a novice when it comes to Victorinox history. I know more than the average Joe, but I don't have my book with me to reference, so I'm not going to, deal with that too much. But basically what I'm showing here is the evolution of the soldier's knife, starting from really old to new, modern, in use right now. So let's get started. By the way, only one of these is a true soldier's knife. The rest of them have the same tools as the soldier's knife and are identical to the soldier's knife. Well, this one I'm not so sure of. Again, with my knowledge of Victorinox, this one is it could be a counterfeit, and I'm not 100% sure, but it still looks and functions as a soldier's knife should. So this one, I don't know if it is or is not. This one is a Pioneer, which is almost identical to the soldier's knife that was used during the 60s all the way up to the 90s, possibly in the year 2000. But there's just one feature on this knife that makes it different from the soldier's knife, and I'll go over that. But let's look at the evolution of the soldier's knife. This one is a good representation of the soldier's knife in the 40s. The Tang stamp, if this one is correct, says 42. And this would be a good World War II model of the Swiss Army knife. You notice it has 4 basic implements. It has the can opener, which is a little bit different from the Victorinox can opener that we all know and love, but it has the awl, and then it has the blade, and a flathead screwdriver / pry bar if you want to use it for that, but it's not really designed for that. But has 4 basic tools. Keep that in mind. This is the discontinued, or a good representation of the discontinued soldier's Swiss Army knife, soldier's model, and it has the 4 basic functions, or 4 basic tools, but some of them have more than one function. Same tools, but slightly different functions. Let's start with the can opener. This is what's commonly regarded to as the world's best can opener on a knife, or multi-tool. This is the old school can opener. This, back in the day, all can openers looked like this. You used it a little bit differently than this can opener. I just wanted to point that out, show you how it used to be and how it is now. They both have an awl. They both have a flathead screwdriver, but this flathead screwdriver also has a cap lifter on it and a wire bendel, or maybe that's a stripple, I don't know. And they both have the blade. Keep in mind this can opener also has a small flathead screwdriver on it, so it's also multifunctional. Multifunction. I guess, yeah. I'm stumbling over my words, forgive me. Anyways, this is, I'm going to say, from the 60s all the way up to, I say, year 2000. I don't know that for a fact, but let's just say that. And this is a little, let me show you something. The Tang stamp on this knife says Elsner Switz. Elsner was the name of the man who started the company, his last name, and Switz is the region where he walked and made knives. I can't remember if his name was Carl Elsner or Charles Elsner. One is the great-grandfather and one is the son or the grandson. Anyways, I'm not getting the names correct. I know I'm getting confused right there. But let's talk about the basic facts. Either Carl Elsner or Charles Elsner decided he wanted to be in the knife-making business. His family made felt hats, and he started selling his knives out of the hat store, and he called it Elzdel Knives or Elzdel on his tank stamp. And then depending who it is, one is the grandfather or one is the son or whatever. His mom, Victoria, died, so he named the company Victoria after his mom or grandfather, depending on which name you're going by. Because I don't have my reference book with me. Anyways, he named the company Victoria. Then, I want to say, I can't remember for sure, they came out with Inox Steel, which is an abbreviation for a very long word that means stainless steel. And when they started using Inox Steel, they kept Victoria, and then they added Inox at the end of it to reference the new steel that they were using, so it became Victorinox. That's the history of the name of the company. Enough about this knife. Let's look at the modern one. This, to my knowledge, is the soldier's knife that is in use today. You notice they added some things to it, and they changed things, which is good in my opinion. You got the cap lift or screwdriver. You got the bottle opener screwdriver. You have the awl. Those are all the original tools on the soldier's knife. So we're going to just close them. They added a Phillips head screwdriver, a saw, and a weird looking blade. This is Victorinox blade shape for the new soldier's knife. You notice it has an opening hole a lot like Spyderco, and you notice the serration pattern is very different from any serration pattern that you've ever seen on a knife before. At least I haven't seen a knife like this before. It has the serrations on the front half of the blade and plain edge on the bottom. I love this serration design. These serrations aren't the most aggressive serrations, but to me, they got it right. The serration should be towards the front of the blade. That way, if you're slashing with it, the serrations are biting into whatever you're slashing at. You're usually cutting with this portion of the blade. And you really only use this portion of the blade for two reasons. One, to put the rope at the very end and then slide the knife through, or for sharpening a pencil, or a tent stake, or whatever. But if you're going to have a combo design, I'm usually when it comes to serrations, I'm an all or nothing guy. I either want fully serrations or fully plain edge. But when it comes to combo serrations, I feel that Victorinox really got it right with this concept. Also, it has a liner lock that is a little bit different. Instead of pushing the liner to the left, you have to use your pointer finger and push it to the right. And you can close the knife. It's one-handed opening, locking. This is starting to look like a tactical knife, which is a little bit more aggressive looking. It's a little bit more intimidating compared to other Swiss Army knives. But I think this is a good thing. If you're going to have a knife and call it an army knife, a Swiss Army knife, or a soldier's knife, a military type knife, to me it should be a little bit more tactical than this. Don't get me wrong, I love this, I love this. But this seems a little bit more fitting for the soldier of Switzerland. And it doesn't have a pocket clip. You can put a lanyard on it. But you can open it with one hand, it locks. You can potentially use this as a self-defense knife, which you really can't say that over other Swiss Army knives. I would hate to be stuck with this knife in a self-defense situation, but it's possible. You're getting in the realm of tactical knives with this design, and I think that's pretty cool. So I wanted to show you this, the evolution of the soldier's knife. And that's it. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed listening to me babble on and talk about things that probably don't matter. But I was getting ready to do my review over this knife, and I happened to see my other two soldier's knife, and I placed them in order from oldest to newest, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm Asatsu5, and I'm out.